Of course, this comes as we're told only 5% of British companies have issued credible net zero plans that meet government standards. Now, in other news, South Africa is gearing up to host the African Air Expo. The event is scheduled to take place in Cape Town from February 12 to 15, 2024. The international event will cover the growth of the aviation sector as well as complementary industries such as tourism, cargo, and human capital development. We're joined now by Mobeen, the CEO of Global Center of Excellence. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Motara. So we're looking ahead 2024, but I'm curious, what specific human capital development opportunities can attendees expect from the South African Air Expo, or even those who may want to offer it plan for?
Good evening, and thanks for having me. I think first of all, globally, we need to contextualize the African Air Expo within the global context and then bring it down to Africa. Within the global context alone, there'll be about 685,000 technicians required, about 550,000 pilots, and about 875,000 service crew, from maintenance to cabin crew and so on and so forth. And that excludes your hotel industry and the services within those hotel industry. Coming to Africa, if we only take 3 to 5% of that number, it's still astronomical, the amount of human capital that is required in terms of our pilots, our air traffic controllers, our engineers, and that's not even considering the pilots and air traffic controllers we are losing to other countries like the Middle East currently. So what we're going to do as the African Air Expo is basically to look at focusing in on reaching out to communities far and wide, our rural communities, to bring partnerships together with our Department of Education, Department of Higher Education, to look at bringing in a greater conscientization process around the aviation industry, that this industry, when we come to 2041, if we don't do something about it, the industry itself will implode, because we're going to be needing to import skills from outside rather than having the skills within our own country. So we want to set up a center of excellence, something like the Gulf Center for Aviation Studies in the Middle East, which is the only gold ICAO Train Air member. We'd like to have a gold ICAO Train Air member in South Africa and Africa as well, to bring the whole of the African continent around our institution and develop the future of our human capital development potential.
So you're speaking about the African context earlier on, and I want to bring it down to South Africa, particularly given that as we speak, we are expecting a UN agency aviation audit. So given whatever the report is out of that, your Air Expo, what networking opportunities will it provide for professionals in the industry? Because I'm just thinking, whatever we're being told to tighten up on or improve on, or what we're doing well, this would also be a nice, springboard into that conversation.
Yeah, that's a good question. In fact, for us, critically important is to showcase the conference, which is part of the Air Expo. So we must remember that we probably have between 50 to 100 aircraft, static aircraft on display, and that will allow for networking in terms of the need. We know that Africa is growing at 6.2%. The global growth rate in aviation is around 4.something%, 4.4%, I think it is. So Africa is growing faster than the global growth rate. And in terms of South Africa, as you say, whether it's the audit on the entire aviation industry, whether it is the discussions on our flagship carrier, our airline, national carrier, we want to have a conference that's vibrant and that's highly dynamic and high level. And that conference needs to zone in on issues like empowerment of women in aviation. What are the audits that we've had over the last 5 to 10 years? Get the best minds and researchers together to look at how we can improve on those audits, have those discussions, let it come out and get all the stakeholders together in one central forum and look at how we can document the resolutions of the conference and look at how we can validate those documented resolutions year in and year out, because we want to stage the African Air Expo every year. So it's not a question of just chalk and talk when we get to the conference. We want to take these auditing frameworks and put it into practice and look at how we can basically monitor the execution of the improvement of our industry in collaboration with our major stakeholders.
Well, thank you so much for your time, CEO of the Global Center for Excellence, Mr. Mobeen Motara.